Right, so good evening, everyone. Dearie me. Oh my god. Here we're getting a spike in signal. Let's hope it stays. Can you see me this time or hear me?
Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you. I can hear you and I can see you. Yeah,
Hello?
I do. Yeah, finally. Hello. Good afternoon.
Fine. Well, that works. That's got a bit better. Let's just hope it stays because that's what I really want at the moment. Anywho, so how are you tonight or this afternoon for you?
I'm fine, and it's an honor to be here with you, to being invited, because you were inviting many other genealogists and other many very important genealogists. So it's a big honor to be here.
Well, you seem to be eager when I posted anything, and I remember one time you were asking, you were kind of saying to me, "Oh, I wouldn't mind going on," and well, I thought, why not? So, without further ado, let's get
Thank
on. So, why don't you introduce yourself to those who might know you?
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Gonzalo Luengo Orellana. Well, my complete name is Gonzalo Alexis Luengo Orellana. I'm from Chillán, a city in Chile. I'm a teacher, primary school teacher. I mean, my degree is for high school, but I have been working since 2011 as primary teacher mainly, and giving classes to pre-kindergarten and kindergarten groups, playgroups. English, that's the subject. I mean, I'm an English teacher, and I've been doing genealogy since 2000, around 2000. I started, and as a professional genealogist, I started around 2012 when I started to ask for money and doing something more professional. I have a hobby. I'm a stamp collector, mail stamps collector, and or philatelic items. So philatelics means to collect or study the mail system. So I collect items such as old letters, old envelopes, and so on. So that's me as a summary. Yeah.
Interesting. I knew well, I didn't know the bit about obviously the primary school teacher or the stamp collector, but the second lecture sounds really interesting. It does to me, because obviously I imagine you probably would have seen quite a development over time with how they looked, how they are, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but mainly I use time. I mean, doing what I really want, but I think those are the three main things I do usually.
Fair enough. So, what made you get into genealogy? What started it all off?
Just because of photographs. One of my great grandparents was photographed in 1826, and that photo arrived to our house as a gift from my maternal grandmother. So she left us a collection of old family pictures. Many of them were of people, were depicting people we couldn't identify. So we knew they were relatives, but we didn't know who were they or our connection. But many of the photos had my grandmother's handwriting behind them, telling the relationship finally. And many of them were, I mean, four of them were of my great grandfather, who was in the army. So the oldest photo from 1826 was, shows him in his uniform from the army in Italy. So I started on genealogy, doing this work. Here in Chile, the surname of my great-great-grandfather is not a common surname. So I started to look for every person in the country bearing the surname of my great-great-grandfather. The surname was De Filippi, 2 words, De Filippi. That was the surname. So I went to something called calling center. I mean, a place where you can pay for making calls. This is quite old now. And there in my city here in Tijan, you could find or look for telephone numbers through the guidebooks. The telephone books of all the country. So I picked every telephone book, every directory for every city in the country, and started to take notes of every name with the surname of my great-great-grandfather. After that, I went to the civil register office here in Chile. That is a very, very easy process, because you can go to any branch of the civil register office here in Chile, and you can tell the name of anybody. It doesn't matter. You say the name of somebody, and they give you any certificate you want, birth, marriage, or death certificate. So I started to ask for birth certificates for the people I found in the telephone directories. And that was the way I started to do genealogy, making the family trees of all the people on phone directories, having my great-great-grandfather's surname to finally clarify our connection. And I collected like 18 people with a clear connection to me. And why I did all this? Just because I wanted to share the photographs, and I finally could. So that was my first goal on genealogy, to share the photo to unknown relatives. And that's all. That's the way I started. Yeah.
I can imagine it must have taken some determination to, get all the phone books and then make sure you didn't kind of miss one. And yeah, you must have had a lot of patience for that, to say the least. So, what projects or ventures are you currently pursuing at the moment?
Mainly, since 2009, I've been publishing a genealogy blog called Genes de Familia. In English is Family Gens, could be a translation. So I've been working on that blog of genealogy since 2009, more than 10 years by now. And I mainly publish tutorials on how to do genealogy here in the country, how to take advantage of everything you can find here, and in that way build up your family tree. And I am working on that, publishing more tutorials. I also make interviews like you. So I would really like to interview someday in person, because my interviews are in person. So I would really like to do it. There's no problem after the pandemic. You may understand. And but for sure, take that for sure. And so I usually travel to other cities or countries to interview people for my YouTube channel, and all that material is gathered in my blog, Genes de Familia. So that is one project, and the other personal projects I am working on are 2 books. One is one of my maternal families, I have been writing. I mean, I just wrote one book. I published one book about a Spanish family here in the city where I live. It's called the Hojas family from Burgos. Burgos is a city in Spain. So this book I wrote was paid by one of the descendants of this family, and I published that basically in genealogy book. So, but I am currently working on two books. One is a book I would like to publish, is the personal family history of a Chilean artist called Gianluca. He's a music artist. And my family, one of my family's family history book, the Filippi, the same family of this great-great-grandfather I was talking about. And the other thing I am working on, and this is, I could mention, is on a project called Orígenes, Origins, that's the meaning. And Orígenes is a small company for genealogy, but we don't just work on personal genealogy with clients, but also with, we are currently working like every month on a celebrity genealogy, on the genealogy of a celebrity here in Chile. So we picked up maybe one celebrity, one local celebrity, national celebrity, and we work on their genealogy. And we do lives here on Instagram for showing up to people their family history. So those are the projects I am currently working on. So quite a lot, maybe.
Hoping that you have time to do it. No, I do follow along with. I don't want to say, I don't want to try and pronounce it because I'm probably going to butcher it and don't offend anyone. But no, I do follow along with it, and it's quite remarkable to see the work you've done with just in all different areas, be what it may. So, what resources have you found most helpful?
For me, one of the most useful and helpful sources on genealogy are something called the marriage information. So when in the Catholic Church, at least Catholic Church, when there is a marriage, there are mainly two records that are finally done. One is the marriage record itself, and the other one, talking on Catholic Church, is the marriage information. And marriage information is like the marriage file, telling you not only the ceremony aspects, but also the more detailed information about the marriage itself and the people marrying. So you why is it helpful? Because you can notice when the marriage record tells you that this is an intermarrying. I am a fan of intermarrying, intermarrying records and intermarrying. When the marriage record tells you this is an intermarrying, then the detail of the relationship between the husband, the future husband, and the future wife is explained in detail in the marriage information. And that marriage information is like maybe at least 2 pages of information telling you the detail of the relationship. For example, when the husband and the wife are like cousins or distant cousins. Yeah.
Right. That's interesting. So, because with ones in Ireland, you don't really typically get that much detail. It's just, bride, groom, and father's name and job of the bride and groom and the bride and groom's father is near as much detail, which is a bit annoying and envious, but nevertheless, it's how it's happened. Uh, so, is there anything you now know that you wish you knew when you started?
Maybe not, because at every time I wanted to take another step into genealogy or into researches, I've been always be like having like the total freedom to have access into many resources. So that every time I needed something, I was strong enough to ask if I didn't know something and try to understand how to take advantage of everything at the right time. So everything happened just at the right time. So I don't regret that I could find more information. If in the past I was able to know more like today. So I am sure that I've been doing my best like every time, and I could access information every time. I mean, as far as I can. So I don't regret.
Well, I can't relate, but for me, it's kind of probably citing sources is probably the thing that I wish I kind of knew or actually did when I started, because it would have actually helped me to know where I got stuff from. Which now I am wondering where I got things from, and so, what aspect of genealogy do you like the most? So, looking at records, seeing photos, or, listening to stories?
I'm sorry, but I couldn't get your last question. I couldn't,
Uh,
because you get quite freezed sometimes. You mean what type of record I enjoy the most? Maybe.
close, hang on. Old.
So I understand that you were asking me about what type of record I like the most and why, isn't it? I was finding all as I told you, uh, finding old photos. I mean, that was my but finding old photos was my genealogy. I looking up on how to share all photos, and that moved me to make the family trees of people I didn't know, just because of the common surname we had. But also, another aspect of genealogy I like is that you can finally understand that when France is finally my
On.
my
maybe.
my own or other relationship.
Oh,
Tell me,
you're back.
I hear you. I hear you better. I hear you better.
Okay,
So I
good.
hear you better. I hear you better. Yeah. So I was telling you, I don't know if you could hear me, if you could hear me, if you did hear me. But I would like to highlight that one of the aspects that I like the most from genealogy is when you find that you are related to your friends. So I think that's exciting. It's the most exciting moment for me when doing genealogy research, that I can find out that, well, many of my friends are related to me, and I call them using our relationship. I call them aunt or uncle or my nephew. And I usually, for example, I know that at least one is my ninth grade cousin once removed. In Spanish, I call him my uncle, because he is my uncle, a distant uncle. So I told him he's my favorite ninth grade uncle. He's my favorite ninth grade uncle. Just because I don't
Oh,
know any other ninth grade uncle in person. So he's my favorite ninth grade uncle. Yeah.
that'd be funny if you like. I'm gonna try and start doing that now with my own family. I like that you now call them kind of just by whatever relationship you are to. It's a new spin, and I like it. Apologies for breaking up. Hopefully, it will not happen too often. I don't know. Anywho, what's an interesting story or event that you've discovered about your ancestors?
Maybe during the last 3 years, the National Archives here in Chile have not published, but they have a computer, I mean, at the National Archives in our capital city in Santiago, that you can access an automatic index to find judicial information. So information about judges and trials. So I found out a trial concerning one of my great grandparents, this great grandparent. This is a family tree between my maternal family. This is me in this bubble, in this circle. This is me. These are my parents. These are my grandparents, my maternal grandparents. These are my great grandparents. And this is the one I am talking about right now. Daniel Orellana. He's one of my great grandfathers. And Daniel, it was namesake, like you, Daniel. The name of my great grandfather was Daniel. So, looking up for trial records, I found out that Daniel Orellana, my great grandfather, he wanted to marry my great grandmother, and he need a special permission, and he asked a judge for granting him a permission to marry because he lost his father. So my great grandfather, someday he went out home to look for a job at another part of the of our country, and in that trial record, I found out that he never saw his father again. So it's a so sad story. I never imagined, and nobody in my family knew about this. So it was something so hard, and my family didn't know And I discovered that through a trial record, through a trial, when he was asking for, just because he needed a permission to marry, and he didn't have a father. And at that record, he explains that his father was lost since years ago. So it was the first time I almost cried at an archive doing genealogy research. It was the first time I cried. Yeah.
Wow. And yeah, that does sound hard to listen to and actually read when you're looking at it, if so like just kind of hearing it from, kind of the actual person that said it. And I can understand. Now, for me, I haven't found anything like that in my own family history. But there are kind of, now, oh, sorry, I lagged out there. What were you saying?
No, don't worry. But the sooner or later, you will find something like that in your own genealogy, for sure. I never expected that, never. So it was a surprise for me.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So, what type of record do you like the most and why?
Maybe, as I told you before, the marriage informations. This, how it is called, this like the marriage file, because it's rich source of information for marriages. But another record I like the most are the it's something, maybe I don't know if in English there is a term for this, but in the Spanish world, in our Hispanic world, Hispanic context, many people from the gentry, I mean noble rank people, the nobles at certain time they have to declare their origins through records. So there are special records called Pleitos de Hidalguía. Is a record where it's a whole file containing a trial. It's a trial file telling you how some people, part of the gentry or noble rank people, want to prove that they are part of the nobility. So they have to prove they are part of the nobility. And they usually show there on these trial records official other official records like birth certificates or marriage certificates or wills that finally allow them to prove that they are part of the nobility of the country. And those are so rich sources of information. So I like them. And they have many beautiful family trees in them. So I love them. So it's fun to, I mean, it's funny to see them, to see this kind of records. Those are my favorite ones. Yeah.
I don't think we have them in Ireland. Now, anyone on Instagram or YouTube that happen to watch this later, feel free to correct me. But I like kind of talking about origins. The only thing that I could think of, but even I don't think even Ireland would have them. Like, it's only kind of if let's say my granddad went off to America, it was in the naturalization record that would kind of tell you her origin. But that would kind of be the only record that I could think that possibly might have, had something like that. But I don't think Ireland had it. But could be wrong.
But I mean, our one of our most important historical characters here in Chile is Bernardo O'Higgins. He was O'Higgins because his father was Irish, so and he was viceroy of our region of Peru. We were Peru, in fact. We were Chile like since the 16th century, but in the administration of the Spanish Empire, we were part of Peru. His father was the governor at that time during the late 18th century, and he was Bernardo Ohiggins, and he was from County Donegal, and he was a baron, and he was also a marquis, and he had to prove that at a certain point. And there are records here in the National Archives with their genealogy through Ireland. Of course, he was totally Irish, I think. Yeah, and trying to prove that he was part of the nobleman. Yeah. So that made me think about our own national history. Yeah, and Bernardo was born here in. That's kind of anecdote. He was born here in Chillán, in my city. He was born here. Yeah.
Right, didn't know that.
Irish roots. I mean, we are totally connected to Irish roots in Chile. Every coin, I mean, not every coin, but at least two current coins here we use here in Chile show Bernardo Ohiggins on them, the son of an Irish man. Yeah.
Right. Well, that I like. It's kind of, I'd say the saying goes kind of, we all have Irish roots somewhere. Like, I mean, if I did a DNA test and I would be so surprised if I wasn't Irish, because like as far back as I can go, paper trail or, if it's word of mouth trail, it is all Irish. Like I can't find any other direct ancestors that, they came from the UK and they shimmied over to Ireland or something. It's all Ireland. So if I was told I wasn't like 100% Irish, I'd be kind of thinking.
Excuse me, you haven't tested your DNA. You haven't got a DNA test yet.
Not yet.
But for sure, if you have your genealogy, I mean, with documents proved, and you have almost 100% Irish, then your DNA should stay the same. I remember one case here in Chile. Is the son of an immigrant. Is a radio star here in Chile called El Rumpi. That's his nickname, and he's a kind of celebrity here. And a TV show, they made a DNA test on him, the My Heritage test, because My Heritage was the sponsor of this TV show, and he was 100% Spanish. And maybe that's quite weird to have 100% ethnic group and not a variety. I mean, I have a variety of ethnic groups. I am 50% or 49% American, and the rest is African, because one of my great-great-grandmothers was 100% African. And one of my, I have two Italian. This great-great-grandfather I was talking right now, he was Italian. I have another Italian great-great-grandfather. Like this radio host, radio star here in Chile, you both have 100% ethnic group. That would be very, very interesting. This makes me think about a very famous genealogist in America called William Adam Ray Weissner. Have you ever heard of him? About him? William Adam Ray Weissner.
Somewhere, but it's not jumping at me.
So William Adam Ray Weissner shows his genealogy. I mean, he passed away like 10 years ago, and he shows his genealogy. But he didn't take a DNA test, maybe, I am not sure. But he tries to show the percentages of ethnic groups like Irish, English, Scottish, etc. Just using documents. I mean, not traditional, but the correct genealogy way to research. So that makes me think about that. And maybe you are going to test. I mean, your test is going to tell you that you have 100% Irish, for sure.
I can't think of anything else that it might have, because, I mean, like I said, it's all Irish as far as I can go back. So Although I might be pleasantly surprised. I might have like, Finnish or UK or something thrown in there as well. Who knows?
Nordic.
Anyway, yeah, you never know. You never know until you do it. So what does genealogy mean to you?
Oh, genealogy for me is many genealogy enthusiasts understand how important genealogy is. So we could make, or we can make a mistake if we think that genealogy is everything. I think genealogy is not everything. We as genealogy enthusiasts or professional genealogists, we we are part of this world as any other person interested on any other thing. So I think that we should be more have more humbleness, to be more humble and understand that we can do our best on genealogy, share what we know, try to learn more, try to let new generations to become genealogists and part of the genealogy community. And in that case, genealogy for me means a lot because it's part of my life. And but I don't think that is all that is something like compulsory for any person. No, I think I can be the way to, or any other person can be the way to share the interest on genealogy. And we can do it and we need to be humble for sharing that better. Yeah, that is my answer.
So what advice would you give to a young person starting out in genealogy?
Oh, when I was young, I am 34. So when I was young, like 20 years ago, when I started on 2000, I didn't have like any doubt on what I was doing. The advice I would give to starting out on their genealogy journey is to don't feel fear, or don't feel you are asking the wrong thing. Just ask whatever you want. And there are many people that would be like rude, maybe, but that's normal. And don't spend your time thinking about your bad experiences when researching, but just continue. And don't forget to ask and ask again and again. And look for new information. Always if you couldn't go far through a branch at one time, just look for information a year after your first searching. So your first search. So I think that's the key, to continue and don't stop and try to retain the good. That's my advice.
And very good at that. Now, my final question is, with times changing and more young people getting into genealogy, what would, would you kind of think there is a sufficient place or outlet for young genealogists to connect, engage, and talk with each other, kind of thing?
I think that you can create your own spaces and you can interact with other groups, finally. What I mean with your own spaces, your own projects, your own community projects, you can connect to other young genealogists and just make a community. So we can take as an example the project you belong to, the Hidden Branch. The Hidden Branch is a good example on how you can finally create a community, and that community can be stronger not only if you can get more participants, but if you can interact with other genealogy societies. So I think it's important for you to participate in maybe traditional occasions like Rootstech, for example. Well, Rootstech is quite new. Like it has less than 20 years or less than 15 years of existence. But don't feel like that maybe there is a certain instance or event or family fair or something, and you may say as a young genealogist, oh, that is too old-fashioned. Oh, no. Just you have two alternatives. Just to see what happens from outside, or come into the event, participate, and change the whole event. So I think what young genealogists could do to find out a place to gather is, as I told you, to create a community or go into already made like events or circumstances to participate and change things. You can change things finally.
And what a good note to end on. So, and I think with that we shall end. So thank you so much, Gonzalo, for coming on. You've been a fabulous guest.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's an honor. I would like to repeat that this is an honor, as I told you before. And I just noticed you are from Ireland. Are you from Ireland, right? There is something I would really like to do and work on. I'm a fan of the most famous Irish singer, Enya, female singer, Enya. And I would really like to work on Enya's genealogy. And I've been talking to like a prominent Enya collector in America who publishes a fan magazine. And I would like to publish Enya's genealogy on that fan magazine. So I would really like to have your help in working on Enya's genealogy and invite you to be a co-author or co-author. Yeah. Or the author itself of an article about Enya's genealogy. I would really like to do it.
Well, for anyone watching this in the future, we'll have to tell you how that goes. So, bye for now, everyone.
Goodbye, and thank you again. Goodbye.